Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of A Bit of This and a Bit of That. My name is Yulia Zamzuli Beharani and this is a new episode after what feels like forever. Thank goodness for this comeback. I hope I sounded okay in that opening greeting. God knows how strange and awkward it felt to be saying those words after literally years not saying it. The last time I was here was to talk about my birthday reflection, and that was more than 2 years ago, on December 2021. How quickly time flew by. And especially it feels even more awkward because currently, as I am recording this, it is very late at night and it feels quite awkward to be doing this after such a long time not speaking, not rambling by myself on my phone. But here we go. Since the last episode was published, so many things have happened, and I am here doing my comeback episode to talk about those many things that happened in my life during the time I've been missing. So where do we begin? I actually put a lot of thoughts into what I should be talking in this comeback episode because I want it to be special. Well, at least kind of special. It is a new episode after all, after more than 2 whole years, so it has to be good. So I decided I will be talking about the most significant changes or things that I experienced. I will be talking about emotional healing and self-growth. I will also be sharing some of the things I'm involved in, or things I currently enjoy doing. I don't want this talk to be like some incoherent ramblings about things that have nothing to do with each other. So I decided to kind of make this talk into 4 subtopics, which are healing, living, feelings, and family. So around 3 years ago, I made a series of talk on mental health and mental illness that consist of 4 episodes in total. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made in regards to doing this podcast, and as well as to my personal life in general. Sometimes when I don't feel good about a few things going on in my life, I go back to those episodes, and now they kind of serve me. They kind of serve as a kind of memento for me, and it's nice to be able to see for myself and remind myself whenever I need to be reminded that I've done some growing up and that I'm still doing some more. I used to not be able to get close or get in touch with things that remind me to the bleak period of my life with my physical and mental illness and my life and my dreams crumbling down back then. And now I am at a place where I could look back to those moments. I could visit the places from back then, literally and figuratively. I could interact with the things that easily remind me about those dark times, and I'll be okay. There were some random moments that made me thought, I am really, really all right now. Thank God. You know, it used to be terrifyingly scary to dream about, um, to have to dream the same dream I had in childhood, because the disappointment from failing were one so huge. But now I am a lot more relaxed in perceiving the possibility of things not going the way I want them. I am at this place where I know and I understand completely that it is okay to dream. It is okay if it doesn't work out. We can always improvise. That's the best thing about being human. The bottom line is, it's okay to dream about anything. And it is okay to pursue that dream. And it is okay if we don't get to realize that dream. Because life is so much more than that dream. And dream can always change. And it doesn't mean that one dream is better than the other, or one particular dream is less important than another. They're all just parts of us being alive and pursuing life and pursuing meaning the best way we know. In regards to this podcast, I just thought about this the other day when I couldn't sleep because I was so busy and exhausted from doing works, and I was extremely heartbroken as well. For there was I have I don't know how to say this, but anyway, I was so disappointed because I didn't understand some people's decisions in things that is significantly related to my life. But anyway, what I want to say is I was in bad mood. So I was, while thinking of what to do to ease my mind, to get rid of that bad mood, I thought of listening to my own poetry reading that I published here on this podcast as a way to relax. And guess what, guys? Guess what? It worked. It worked perfectly. It worked out perfectly to completely soothe my heart. That made me realize that I'm doing this podcast for myself first and foremost. Of course, sharing my thoughts, experience, and the things I personally enjoy to those who might be interested has always been the goal, but the purpose of sharing is subjected to myself as much as to others. And I'm really glad this podcast exists. And if someone out there could perhaps, find any comfort through this podcast, however little, oh, then words cannot describe the joy and fulfillment I would feel. When I did the few last episodes before I took a break, I already lived in Georgia, and now I'm still living in the same place. There is a significant change that happened during the time I took rest from doing podcast. So this the last year, and that is me allowing myself to be a much, 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 much more social person to the point that my close friends couldn't believe it at first. They were like, "Yo, are you alright being this social, interacting this frequently with people?" It was a long story and probably one I would share in a separate episode, but in short, I got caught in a situation where the people in my current neighborhood found me to be fitting to join them in there are many endeavors, and the people pleaser in me couldn't say no. So I thought, if we couldn't escape this, might as well as enjoy it. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. Enjoying being social, to the point almost everyone in the neighborhood knew who I am. And that's kind of nice. That's, I don't know if everyone, but I think that's not an exaggeration to say that almost everyone in my neighborhood know who I am. And I got a reputation. And no event will be held without me knowing about it, or even more involved in some ways, which is quite crazy. It was scary at first, but this is the puzzle of personality, I guess. Which I will be talking about in details in one of the upcoming episodes, hopefully soon. My involvement with the neighborhood centered in our masjid, our mosque, and the many significant things that happened in the course of the last year got things to do with the masjid, but that's also a story for another day. What I want to share in this comeback episode is that and I came to think about this very often, especially lately. We human oftentimes tend to have this false belief that we're a special person, and that our struggle is special and nobody could really understand us and our struggle or our preference, and that we owe no one to explain ourselves and our decisions, and continuously making excuses and justification about ourselves to keep our distance from other people. Bottom line, we just don't trust. During this experience of letting myself be more socially active, I guess that's the word, socially active, I came to realize that cracking down and letting go of the wall we knowingly or unknowingly have built around us to protect ourselves from people who we thought wouldn't be able to understand us at all, which is a huge lie. That is such a precious experience and an important decision. Of course, when speaking about myself and my personal experience, the sense of introversion in me is still there, obviously. Nothing really changes. What changes now is how I manage that part of me while allowing myself to experience as many stuff as possible, interacting with as many people as possible, and learn as many lessons as possible. So our introversion, or whatever that is, our tendency to be of a certain way, shouldn't hinder us from giving the best life experience and opportunities for self-growth to ourselves. Also, one thing I want to share in this talk is that we really need to appreciate our journey more, and genuinely and thoroughly realize what it means to have faith. Again, I'll be talking about this in length in a separate episode, but what I can say now is, when I did the mapping out my life for the next 20 years, around 11 years ago, as part of my first year orientation at university, everything about my current life and situation is known to be found on the map. My life turns out to be quite different with what I have planned. Getting back here in Jogja and meeting the people I'm close with now, doing the work I am doing now, it was all never in the plan. I never planned to be here, to be in this stage of life, in this age. But now, honestly and genuinely speaking, I I genuinely cannot imagine myself. I cannot imagine how my life would be had I not go through this phase. The conclusion is there is meaning in everything if only we let ourselves feel and pursue the meaning. There are abundant meanings and lessons in the life God provided for us, and we need to wholeheartedly cherish our life. Wherever we are now, no need to worry that much, no need to force ourselves to always know what will be. We just have to live every second of our lives like we're really thankful for that opportunity to live, for that 1 second to breathe and feel that we're still alive, because nobody knows about the future. It's no point. There's no point in worrying. There's no point of, worrying too much, because it doesn't matter how much you worry. You won't know anyway. You can only plan and improvise along the way. There's nothing certain about the future. Life is mysterious. Oh, there are so many things that are crossing my head right now. It's been more than 2 years after all, and I really want to talk about all these thoughts, all of them. But of course, obviously, it won't be good for the podcast, for the listeners, for you guys. So I am trying really, really hard right now to only talk a little about some of the most important things I want to share. And I guess just talk about each topics in lengths and details in another episodes, kind of like a preview of what I'll be talking about in the future episodes. I also want to talk a little about feeling. Actually, this is the part that underwent a significant change or growth in my life during the time I took a break from doing podcast. I have a lot of thoughts I can share when talking about feeling, specifically as someone in her late 20s, since, this range of age is quite special. Since last year, I feel like I found a new layer in understanding loneliness. And of course, at my age, it is normal to feel lonely at times. I've been thinking a lot about marriage lately, about relationship, about wanting to love and be loved. Not only for the sake of becoming not lonely, but for the sake of love and for the sake of the partnership itself. I grew up experiencing the beautiful marriage of my parents all my life. I really admire their relationship, the commitment and the partnership they share. And I want that kind of relationship for myself. But the more I desire it, the more scared I become. Unknowingly, I don't know. It is scary to get into a relationship because so many things have to be considered now. And honestly, I just don't have the energy to be involved in the game of feeling or so-called love. I also came to think about the past tendency of feeling nostalgic about my past relationship whenever I feel lonely. And I found that it happened not only to me, but actually is a common problem. Like, for me, I often thinking about why do I miss my ex when I'm lonely, especially because the breakup was amicable. I was like, what makes a relationship doesn't work? I often think about that lately. And now I think, in regards to nostalgia as well, I think I know the answer. What we miss is not the person. It's not that, our ex or that person that used to be with us. It has little to nothing actually to do with that person. What we miss is the feeling of being in a relationship, of having a companion, the reassurance that we are loved as much as we love and that we receive as much as we give. The fact is, a relationship ends, however amicable, for a reason. There's nothing certain when it comes to a relationship and how to make it work. So, even though sometimes we cannot avoid it, we cannot help it, it's good to always remember that there's no point at all in nostalgia. What's not meant to be will not be. It's easier to let go of those obsession to control everything and wanting things to come and to happen in the perfect way as we design them, as we want them to be. We're merely human, so it's extremely important to embrace that, to embrace our humanity and, our inability and incapability of some things. I also decided one thing in the matter of love and relationship during this past year, and it's got to do with my, I don't know if it's correct to call it spiritual journey, but I don't have any other words but that. So let's just say it's got to do with my spiritual journey during the past year and my commitment to learn more about what's been regulated in my religion about romantic relationship. I cannot explain it here since the story is long, but the point is there's no more dating for me, not even flirting, not even getting unnecessarily close with any male friends. I know. Complicated. How could I get to meet a potential husband if I don't talk and get close to people? But I am in a place where I have the heart and the strength to have this belief that following through in the path we have put our absolute faith in will never disappoint us. I promise to talk about this in a separate episode because this really deserves a long separate episode. Actually, if I were to be honest, during this past few months, I've been allowing myself to feel the natural attraction to people who are able to make me think and visualize the idea of marriage. Because I used to not having any interest at all at being in a relationship or liking someone, at least not until this year. But at some point I thought, actually, visualizing myself being ready to get into marriage is not bad at all. After all, building a family has always been up there in the list of things I pray God grant me the permission to have in this life. And now would I give, I don't know if how should I say this. One of the things I do as part of um, being a better person with better understanding about how I should pursue a romantic relationship, meaning marriage, is by reading a lot and listening a lot about listening a lot from people who actually know a thing or two about this topic, marriage, and everything around it. And oh, I actually wrote a poem about feeling. um, because lately I often allow myself to indulge in, having feeling. Um, the poem is kind of imaginary. Just what I imagine, what I think to be the state of myself once I actually find someone my heart feels attracted to. I imagine about what what would I feel, what would I do. There's no title, but I will call this a poem for the silently falling. Anyway, here's the poem. Um, I could write to you a poem or two, maybe a few lines of prose too. I could put up my lens and take a click or two, and save some moments on record too. If it is up to me, I would make every greeting last longer, possibly 1 second more or two. If I am somehow able to, I would put out every sight of you on print, or simply digital would do. Actually, any form would do, as long as I'll be able to look back to that serene gaze and that smile too, as much as I want, anytime I want. I wish I could put your voice on a tape and have it played until the sound worn out. I could cook a meal or two and pour all my delicate feelings into the spoonful you'll take. I could do all that and so much more. Yet I cannot bring myself to. I am bounded by shame when it comes to you. Making you uncomfortable is the last thing I would do. I have fallen all right, so very deeply. I adore you indeed, so very clearly. But I have to accept the undeniable truth that I do respect you way more than I desire you. Even more than that, I respect myself and I respect this adoration I have for you, so I cannot succumb to desire. And for now, that should be enough for me. Well, that's the poem I wrote. Actually, it kind of serves as a reminder for me to to protect myself from doing unnecessary things in regards to feeling an attraction to other people, especially since I have acknowledged that lately I often feel lonely, but I have a definitive form of the relationship I want and the definitive form of how to pursue that. So I have to really stick to that. And the poem I read earlier is kind of like a warning to me, an acknowledgement and a warning, because I know myself really well. I know, sometimes I tend to really get into feeling sometimes too much, and I don't want that for myself, especially at this age. I no longer want it. I haven't had much going on actually to talk in length about feelings, since all is still in my head. there's still to be any manifestation of anything, so that's all. Instead, I will just talk about things I came to think about lately, mainly about family and the many values and meanings that once again I get to learn and understand, hopefully in a deeper level. So, last month or so, as Muslims around the world celebrated Eid al-Fitr after Ramadan. It's a national holiday here in Indonesia. But I didn't get to go home for Eid because my little brother only had a week of holiday and he had to go back to school 5 days after Eid. And after thinking about the money we would be spending for going home and coming back to Jogja, it's unwise and completely uneconomic. So we decided for the two of us to just celebrate Eid together in Jogja while the rest of my family celebrating Eid at home, much to my parents, but especially my father, disappointment, because, you know, my parents were kind of heartbroken since it's been like a tradition for us together at Eid, no matter what. But we'll be going home at the end of this month, inshallah. So both I and my little brother, especially, as well as my parents, we all understood there's no point of being disappointed. It is only a momentum after all. What matters is we get to meet each other and release this longing we feel for each other. Doesn't matter the time, the day, whether it's a special day or not. Everything, every day, whenever is special, if it's with the people we love. And speaking about my baby brother, can you believe it, guys? He just graduated high school and he is about to go to college, which is weird. Weird with capital WEIRD. He just turned 18 earlier this last month, and I was hit with such a strange emotion upon realizing that. Like, the baby I hold in my arms is already an adult. How quickly time flies. Sometimes I cannot believe it. But then realizing that, seeing how much we've grown individually, and just realizing how quick time flies, it made me think a lot about time. And I came to this understanding that the more we understand life moves so quickly past us, the more we should understand that, nothing about life should be taken for granted. Every moment is fleeting. So we should seize each and every moment as it happens and bask in all the joy offered by those moments. Because it won't come twice. I mean, my parents will... Oh, I don't want to be emotional yet. But suddenly thinking, my parents will keep on getting older and they will gradually become physically weaker than they are now. So there's no such thing as waiting for the best time to do something good. If you're thinking of something, do it and do it now. Do not wait. I come from a big family. I have 5 siblings, and as I said earlier, I witness for myself how, day by day, mm, we all, it's kind of weird since we're getting older together, but looking from some perspective, it also means as much as we've grown, we also have grown apart in some ways. Because my siblings are getting older and they will one day have their own lives, and we possibly won't be able to spend as much time together as we get to do now. So life is bittersweet in that way. So realizing that, it makes me think that, and I want to say this for myself and for you guys who are listening, that um, mm, every act of love, every expression of affection, every words of gratitude, every good feeling, and everything you want to do for each other, everything, every good words we want to say for each other, we have to put all those into realization the moment we think of them. Do not wait. We really shouldn't wait, because life keeps moving forward. It doesn't wait for us. And all the good feelings to the people we love and are grateful for, they should be honored. Those feelings, those love, those affection should be honored. And I am beyond grateful that I am not the only one with that conviction in my family. In fact, everyone is like that. Everyone thinks the same. And I'm so blessed. I am so blessed to have such a wonderful, loving family, really. In regards to growing up as well, I think the more we grow up, the more we get to see life from a much fairer point of view. All our past mistakes, misdeeds, bad exchange of words, unresolved feelings, all those find new shape as we get older. And I pray that God allow me to always be capable of contemplating the meaning of my past and those changes. And most importantly, allow me to learn my lesson. For I pray I will keep improving towards being the better and better version of myself for as long as I walk on this earth. Uh, I feel like if I keep talking, I'm going to ramble even more, and that is dangerous. So I should end this comeback episode right here and right now. Oh, and I actually thought really, really long. I didn't even know yet what to be talking about, what I should be talking about. Before making outlines, of course. But I already had the ending. I thought first time when I thought of making a comeback episode that I want to close it with a poem I wrote a few years ago. It's called A Place Called Home. But before that, I want to say that because this is a monologue and I am not, of course, you guys are listening. I'm only rambling to myself, pretending that someone is listening. So it's hard to know whether I did good or not. I don't. I really do. I really want to. I really want this talk to be good, but I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know whether I talked about something important or simply putting out whatever crossed my head. But anyway, whatever the case is, I want to say that I am so happy and overjoyed to be able to be here again, to be back here after such a long time to share my thoughts and share my stories. And I hope whoever listening can be as happy as I am making this. You're happy listening. I don't know, what am I talking about? I don't even know. Oh, wait, let me say it again. I hope whoever listening to this comeback episode can be as happy listening to this as I am happy making this. Anyway, here's the poem called A Place Called Home. I have been to a few places, not one quite like this. This place, in silence, carries the weight of unbroken dreams and innocent childhood. It is mythical in a way, the way each day comes on with different personality, yet it reminds one of what never changes. The same coconut trees lining in the wide yard, making this place ever so exotic. The same rambutan trees I still use to showcase my climbing skill. This place is home for the little girl, for the girl of thick bushes and high groves, of natural ponds and swamp after rain, of which now have long gone. The road is now paved, new buildings are built, vacant area for bush or swamp is scarce. Yet that girl in me admits to no changes, stubbornly constant, unbothered. To her, this place is forever a safe haven, a shelter in between the vast meandering that knows no end. This place represents what comes and goes and what stays for the better. This place offers reason in effort to staying human, a good human. In this place, laughter is abundant, food is sufficient, beauty is appreciated, love is loud, smile is broad, curiosity is encouraged, thought is free, wisdom is respected. In this place, lung never screamed for air, tears don't cry for space. This place is about adventure and serenity. It is not so deep, but also far from shallow. It is ever-changing, yet firmly rooted, endlessly and tirelessly provides the same old contentment. In this place, heart is at peace. That's all for this comeback episode. Thank you for listening. I'll be back soon with another episode, and until then, let's all live well and bye everyone.